What on earth was National Security Advisor Ajit Doval thinking when he cooked up this harebrained scheme of getting 20 plus far-right members of the European Parliament to make a private visit to Kashmir? Yes, you heard me right. And no, the MEP's visit is not some great diplomatic masterstroke or surgical strike that Team Modi has launched to decimate the lobby, but a horrendous self-goal that not only shows India and Indian democracy in bad light, but will also end up making us more enemies than friends. That's what we'll be talking about in today's episode of Beyond the Headlines. As propaganda moves go, this is at a very high level of stupid, because even if the junket is a success and the MEPs praise the Modi government's policies in Kashmir, the fact that they are seen in their own societies as xenophobic politicians with scant regard for human rights, especially of Muslims, is not exactly the kind of messaging that gels with a feel-good, incredible India campaign. I mean, these are people who represent parties that are seen as racist or xenophobic. Now, these parties may share the Islamophobia of the BJP and the RSS, but even if you are a Hindutva supporter, trust me, you don't want these guys on your side. But I'm getting ahead of the story here, because we need to be clear at the outset just how foolish this propaganda tour really is. First up, how does Narendra Modi think it looks when his government physically prevents Indian members of parliament from visiting Kashmir, but goes out of its way to facilitate a junket for these European MEPs? I'm not talking about the misplaced complaint some people have that Modi and Doval are internationalizing Kashmir. To my mind, there is no contradiction between insisting Kashmir is India's internal problem and allowing or even encouraging foreign legislators or journalists and researchers to visit Kashmir. India is meant to be a democracy, and democracies have no reason to hide an entire state or union territory from the eyes of the world. So I think it's great that MEPs have gone to Kashmir. I only wish the Modi government would also allow foreign diplomats and foreign journalists to go there. The bigger issue, of course, is that this willingness to take Euro MPs to Kashmir comes at a time when opposition leaders and some civil society activists like Yashwant Sinha and Sandeep Pandey have actually been detained by the authorities at Srinagar airport and sent back to Delhi when they land. The Congress's Ghulam Nabi Azad, himself a former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, had to actually petition the Supreme Court of India for permission to visit the valley. The Communist Party of India Marxist General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri had to do the same. What's astonishing is that the Chief Justice of India-led bench told Yechuri that he was being allowed to go to Srinagar only in order to meet his ailing colleague Yusuf Tarigami, and that he was not allowed to do anything else when he was there, like speaking to the media. This is an extract from the Supreme Court's actual order. On due consideration, we permit the petitioner to travel to Jammu and Kashmir for the aforesaid purpose and for no other purpose. We make it clear that if the petitioner is found to be indulging in any other act, omission or commission, save and except what has been indicated above, in other words, to meet his friend and colleague party member and to inquire about his welfare and health condition, it will be construed to be a violation of this court's order. So, Indian MPs and opposition leaders cannot visit Srinagar except with the Supreme Court's permission, and even then they are told that they cannot interact with local people. Yet, the government has no problem allowing a delegation of European MPs to visit the valley. Something doesn't quite add up, does it? So what's going on here? I may be speculating a bit, but bear with me for a moment. Clearly, the PMO, especially NSA Ajit Doval, who fancies himself as an ace intelligence man, thought they could counter some of the adverse international press that their Kashmir policy has rightly generated by selling the pup of normalcy to a group of respectable sounding foreigners, especially selected for the junket because they might in some way be predisposed to buying the story that Islamist terror is the problem in Kashmir and not the denial of fundamental rights by the government. So they reach out to a Brussels-based think tank called West, Women's Economic and Social Think Tank, run by an Indian-origin British businesswoman called Madhi Sharma. I imagine Doval and co. have probably dealt with Ms. Sharma before. On October 7th, she invites select MEPs to travel to Delhi and Kashmir at the expense of a Delhi-based NGO. Now, who connected her to this NGO is a bit of a mystery to me. Here's an extract of the letter she wrote to one MEP, Richard Davies, of the UK Liberal Democrats. I'm organising a prestigious VIP meeting with the Prime Minister of India, she said, His Excellency Narendra Modi, and it is my privilege to offer this invitation to you. As you will be aware, Prime Minister Modi had a landslide victory in the recent elections in India and is planning to continue on his path of growth and development for India, the country and its people. In that respect, he would like to meet influential decision makers from the European Union. I am therefore inquiring if you would be interested to visit Delhi, India, to meet with the Prime Minister. The meeting with the PM is scheduled for 28th of October, with a visit to Kashmir on the 29th and a press conference on the 30th. The visit will be of a small group of cross-party pan-European politicians on a 3-day visit. And she adds, flight and accommodation will be covered and are sponsored by the International Institute for Non-Aligned Studies. Your participation will be as our VIP guest and not in an official capacity as a delegation of members of the European Parliament. This is the letter that Madhi Sharma wrote. Davies, the British MEP, smelt a rat. He told my colleague Devi Rupa Mitra that he had never heard of the organisers, and he shared a copy of the reply that he sent to Sharma the very next day. Thank you for your invitation. I am happy to accept on the condition that during my time in Kashmir, I shall be free to go wherever I wish and talk to whoever I wish, unaccompanied by military, police or security forces, but accompanied by journalists and television crews. Please provide this absolute guarantee in writing and let us then discuss the timings of the visit. Now it was Madhi Sharma's turn to balk. She initially agreed to meet with him to discuss the visit further, but 2 days later wrote to Davies saying, I apologize that I cannot take any more MEPs at this stage. When I return from India, I will arrange a suitable time to pass by your offices in the hope that we can arrange a future visit. Clearly, the last thing the hidden hands behind this junket wanted was for any of these VIP invitees to have unscripted encounters with Kashmiris who have not been screened. So Davies was dropped. Finally, Sharma brought a delegation of 27 MEPs to Delhi. Their bills, I understand, are being paid for by this NGO that nobody's ever heard of, the International Institute for Non-Aligned Studies. If you check out its website, under the section where it lists activities, it hasn't engaged in any since, I believe, 1998. Well, these MEPs came to Delhi, they met Modi, were given lunch by Doval, and I believe dinner by External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar. That's a hell of a lot to accomplish on a private visit. Today, they're in Srinagar, or rather a Potemkin village that they will be told is Srinagar. What Modi and company don't realize is that democracies don't do conducted tours. They allow folks to travel as they please, to see and hear things as they please, and this applies both to their own people and to foreigners. The best way to get the world to start saying that things in Kashmir are normal is by letting things in Kashmir actually get back to normal. Turn on the internet, for example. Let people travel and communicate freely. Release all political prisoners. Allow political parties and their leaders to function the way they are meant to in a real democracy. But no, the government won't do any of that. They will release political leaders only if they sign a bond in which they commit never to speak about the current situation in Kashmir for a whole year. Is this what things getting to normal looks like? I will let the British MEP who was dropped from this trip, Richard Davies, have the last word. Quote, I only heard today that Indian MPs are not being allowed to visit Kashmir. If this is the case, it is an outrageous affront to democracy, and I am deeply disappointed. India is a great country, and we expect better from its government. We've been saying this from day one. Ordinary Kashmiris have been saying this too. But chalo, now that a European MP has also said it, can Modi ji please pay heed?